And then we are going to move swiftly into session 1 of our day. And that is going to be the topic of placing justice at the center of the energy transition strategies. And here we will have 2 speakers, Aryanto Nugroho and María Elena Huertas from Colombia, and Aryanto is up first. He is the National Coordinator of Publish What You Pay, and he plays a core role in PWYP's advocacy work. He's also a representative of the civil society and is part of the implementing team that is working on extractive industries as an expert and evaluator. So Aryanto, if you can make your way to the front, we'll receive your presentation. Just also note, yes, you can come. Just also note for the speakers, there is a timer that will time you for 10 minutes. And at the end of your 10 minutes, the light will go red, just to give you a warning up front. Here is your presentation, and you've got your clicker.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity for us to sharing our experiences regarding the transparency and accountability in the just energy transitions. Maybe we could start with our presentations next. Sorry. I would like to sharing our experience regarding improving transparency, public participation, and social inclusion for just energy transitions. So this is one of the picture of women indigenous people who affected the coal mining in the East Kalimantan, one of the big producer province in Indonesia. So I would like to introduce myself. I'm Aryanto from the Publish What You Pay Indonesia. So Publish What You Pay Indonesia is a civil society coalition with 31 members, both of the national and local CSO, for improving governance of energy and natural resources sector. So this is the background context of our coal production in Indonesia. So since 2020, Indonesia has transformed from the minor player in the global coal industry to a leading exporter and consumer of coal. Also, the government of Indonesia has committed to achieving the emission reduction target of 29 by 2030 in a scenario based in its own capabilities and 41% with international support. Indonesia also has launched the Energy Transition Mechanisms Country Platform, ETM, and the Just Energy Transition Partnership, JETP, during the G20 in the 2022 to accelerate the decarbonizations. Also, the coal is one of the source of the energy and fossil fuel with a large proportions in the national energy mix, reaching 40.46% based on the data of Ministry of Energy and Resource Mineral. Just want to share that currently in Indonesia, we have total 977 coal mining licenses. It's very huge. And also we have 2 regimes in the coal mining, regime the contract, also in the regime of the licenses. So we have still have 59 PKP2B is the contracts, also the 900 of the licensing contract. So our coal resource almost at 97.29 billion ton, and coal reserves is 31.71 billion tons, and based on the Indonesia Geological Agency for this year. But our study in the Publish What You Pay Indonesia, we have studied that the Indonesia found inconsistencies in the government effort to control coal productions and exports. Based on the energy policy in Indonesia, they have to be limited coal production in the 2019, just only 400 million tons. But the current situations, the total production on this year, almost 922 million coal productions. So this is the limited, just only 400 million ton, but currently twice than the target of the coal production in Indonesia. So this is our challenges regarding the how to make just coal transitions. So just energy transitions, there are a complex dimension. So we have to make sure that all our work, all of our initiative have to be contribute to the climate change and decarbonizations, also with adaptation and mitigation. So I just want to share that very complex of the just coal transition, because we have the coal mining, both of the legal and illegal mining. And then this is like the value chains of just coal transition. From the coal, we got the export. So 75% of our coal production have to go to the export. Just only 25% used by domestic. And the domestic, we have like the another value chains of the coal. For example, we want to develop like the co-firing, also downstreaming of the coal with the DME, for the coal power plant, for the gasifications, also for the industry, and also for the households, the electricity. And for example, the coal mining, for the co-firing, the ME coal power plant also have the value chain and supply chains from the planning until the evaluations. So if we want to work with the coal power, so just coal transitions, so we have to know the value chains in each point. And we have to discuss about the supply and quality, regulation and policy in the coal mining, regulation policy in the export coal, regulation and policy in the co-firing, regulation and policy about the coal power plant. We have to talk about the governance. We have to talk about the alignment, human rights principle, and inclusiveness, actor map, and each part is very different actor maps from the government, civil society, community, and also from the companies. With the social dimensions, risk mitigation and the crisis communication. But maybe for our presentation, we are focused in the governance. And we talk about the energy transitions. It's not talk about just only talk about the how to shifting from the fossil fuel from the fossil fuel to the renewable energy, but also talk about the economic transitions. We talk about the behavioral and cultural transitions. We have to talk about the food transitions, also the technology transition. So this is so many challenges, but we hope with our discussion today, let's move from the challenges to be an opportunity. This is our work. Yes, because I got the time to talk about the governance dimensions. If we talk about the governance, we talk about the participation, transparency, and accountability. For us, for the civil society, transparency, accountability, and participation, it's all about the human right. Transparency is about the right to know. Accountability is talk about the right to claim, and the participation is about the right to influence. For example, the governments, the companies, or maybe the civil society or the academician say that we are very transparent because we publish all of the data and information in our website. But the question is the right to know, because sometimes right to know is to have to make sure that local community, the affected, the coal mining in the coal power plant, get the data information. So this is that our problem. And then if we talk about the transparency, this is the mapping of transparency in the natural resources sector in Indonesia. We have so many regulations regarding the transparency. Law number 14, for example, law number 14, the 2018 is about the freedom of information. We have Freedom of Information Act. With the institution, we have the Information Commission. We have the inform data and inform data documentation management offices. We also have so many initiatives like the EITI, Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, OGP, ESDM Geoportal. This is like the platform, one data, one map, beneficial ownership transparency. This is talk about the transparency. I just give one example. This is like the portal data extracted from the EITI. So you could explore so many data regarding the coal mining in Indonesia. We also have the government establishes like the one data Indonesia. So we could explore all of the mining licenses in Indonesia. We have 4,000 mining licenses, and we could explore data project by project level. This is like the one map policy in Indonesia. So you could explore of this data. But in our discussion with the communities, sometimes based on the series discussions that directly involved for the local communities, the problems regarding transparency is access to the information. Because all of the platform is not true to the local communities. Our local communities, for example, in the surrounding mining area, they didn't have any electricity. They didn't have any internet access. So we have to make sure that data and information have to become to the local communities, also from the gender and a person of disability. Utilization information for the community. Sometimes the data information is not relevant with the local communities. Also the importance of building multi-stakeholder forum in the local level. This is that if we talk about the transparency, ensuring information is relevant to communities' needs. Sometimes the data and information is not relevant with the communities, and making that accessible for the local communities in the remote area, sustaining community participation in the dialogue and decision making. So why we promote is like the multi-stakeholder forum, and this is like, yeah, IKJ, for example, is talk with the collaborate, but collaborate have so many requirements. Forum initiated by the public consultations. Participation in the forum include non-state actor. Participants are directly involved in the decision making. It's not just consulted by public agencies. The forum is officially organized and might meet collectively. The forum aims to make decisions by consensus, and the focus of collaboration is public policy or management. And let's talk about the people before profit, because we think peoples and local community is the important things than the profit in the just called transition partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aryanto. We're going to move on to our next speaker, who is María Elena Huertas, and she's the co-founder of POLEN Transiciones Justas. And Maria is an environmental engineer, and she holds a PhD in engineering sciences focused on air quality modeling. And POLEN's aim is to facilitate JET work that promotes energy democratization, and her talk will be focused on energy communities in Colombia.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about energy communities in Colombia. In this presentation, I will present as a first step a very overview of exports and extraction in Colombia. Then I will move to explain energy communities, more or less, a little, and then I will speak about a specific project that we have in this topic. Then, well, Colombia is located at north of South America, and we have a highly economical dependent on fossil fuel. As you can see, in 2021, 55% of the total export were fossil fuels for Colombia, and 4% of our GDP were oil rents. So, and as you can see in the graph, I don't know if I can. This is yes, here it is. This is the bar of our coal extraction, and you can see that around 90% of the coal is export, and the other part is domestic consumption. It means that when we talk about transition in Colombia, we are talking about a transformation of our entire economy. On the other hand, in this bar, you can see how are the CO2 emissions by sector in Colombia, and transportation is the sector with the highest CO2 emissions, around 45%. And in terms of power generation, Colombia use hydropower plants is the main energy source in Colombia, around 70%, but we have a really high potential of renewable energies in Colombia. So we think that there is a high potential to decarbonize transportation through electrification. So now I will talk about energy communities. So this is a strategy that is currently based on this government, and it's a pillar of just energy transition in Colombia. Energy communities is a mechanism creating to democratize energy in Colombia. It means that is not also to get access to electricity in some regions of Colombia, but also to promote that if you have access, you can also create new economies in these fossil fuel dependent regions, for example. It means that is another way to create economic reorientation and also reindustrialize some places in Colombia. Right now, we have a decree that allows to create energy communities. It means that in Colombia, local communities can generate, commercialize, and use the energy. And well, the objective is in 2026, we can get 6 gigawatts of installed capacity, but this includes not only energy communities, it also includes solar and wind parks. But in 2050, it's expected that from energy communities, we can generate 2 gigawatts of energy. And this government expects to install 20,000 energy communities in the country. So what we are doing now is try to put in the center energy communities and transport. And in that way, we think that electromobility is a way that combines energy communities and also a possibility to get another new economic orientation in these, for example, coal regions in Colombia. So now I'm going to talk about a project that we are developing right now that is called e-Rurality. The goal of this project is to influence local and national transport and energy authorities on the feasibility of electromobility in urban areas. Why we decide to do this in urban areas? Because in Colombia, 23% of the country's population live in urban areas, but transport and energy policies are oriented towards urban areas. And on the other hand, our project, we developed this project for motorcycles, because right now Colombia has 18,000 vehicles, and 60% of them, 61 actually, are motorcycles. So there is a big number of motorcycles that we use for transport. So in that way, we create the first community electric station in one of the region, in the coal mining regions actually in Colombia. So here I want to show you, this is the country. Our project is located in the north of Colombia. This department is called La Guajira, and specifically we are located in Mingueo. In this place, we have a power plant that is expected to be phased out as the first one power plant phased out in the country. It is the power plant, and here is the Caribbean Sea. Also, in this region, here is located the largest open pit coal mining the largest open pit coal mine in Latin America that is called Cerrejón. Is this one? Here is a photograph of this region. And finally, there is not public transportation system and roads in very well condition. In this photograph, you can see some of the roads that we have in that area. So in that way, we create one community solar charging station. This is the station, and retrofit and a retrofit workshop. Retrofit means that you transform gasoline vehicles to electric vehicles. So here we have this workshop to create this transformation. Right now, we have 3 imported electric motorcycles and 3 electric motorcycles retrofitted by the community. In this photograph, you can see part of the beneficiaries of this project. And here is part of the use that people do of this kind of motorcycles in this region. And now we are trying to create a one electric tuk-tuk retrofitted also by the local communities. In terms of the community engagement, we prioritize the participation of women in this project. Also, the community's motorcycle mechanics were involved in the project. And finally, mechanical engineers from the nearest university of this region, that is called La Guajira University, were also involved in this project. So to finalize this conversation, we think that e-mobility opens a path for economic independence in fossil fuel dependent economies for 4 main reasons. First, switch from fossils to renewables for using existing resources. Second, diversifies offtake the decentralized renewable energy solutions. Third, is the opportunity to job reorientation and local industrial value creation. And finally, for contributions for sustainability and popularity of the gasoline subsidies to phase out. So thank you very much for this space.
Thank you so much. We would just like to go to the online community, Mutsa, if anybody has any comments. No comments coming from the online community? None. And then we'd like to turn quickly to the in-room community. Is there anybody that has any comments for our presenters? Yes, sir. Can we get a mic to our speaker? Please, sir, if you can introduce yourself before you ask your question.
Okay, good morning. I'm Michael Sin Cruz from the Ministry of Energy of the Philippines. I'd like to ask a question to our Indonesian colleague. With regard to coal, specifically the coal mines, I think the revenues generated by the government from these coal mines, a portion of which is used to subsidize. And do you have any study what would be the impact of such if we're going to close down some of the coal mines, and that would affect the subsidies being given by the government? And for Colombia, I think this is very challenging for Colombia, being considering that the coal mining and oil contribute a lot in terms of the gross domestic product of Colombia. So what would be the alternatives of the government if we're going to phase down or phase out the coal mines, the oil or gas? So what would be the replacement? Because as you mentioned earlier, this would mean a restructuring of the whole economy of Colombia. Thank you.
Thank you. Aryanto?
Okay, thank you very much. It's very, very challenges about how to, if you talk about the coal transitions, as I mentioned before, it's not about just only for transition from the coal to the renewable energy, but also think about the diversification of the economic. So the question is, what's the economic after the coal for the local province or local regions who have the good, who have the producer of the coal for itself. So I think economic transformation to get what's the economic after coal is very important to get the answer. And the second thing that we have to discuss with the existing big coal companies who still working in the coal companies. I just imagine it maybe for the long term, from the 20 or next 20 or 30 years, we have to make like one way with the governments and with the companies. I think that all of the big coal companies for the next 20 years, they also want to change, to shift their business to change their business. So the government is to be facilitate the big coal companies to shifting their business, and could be facilitate what the fiscal incentive, what the infrastructure incentive to the coal companies to shift their business. Because if they try to shifting their business, but still in the coal regions, it will be helpful for the local governments or the local communities to still improve their economic without the coal itself. And then, yes, this important things that we need a collaboration and transparency. Sometimes when we discuss with the local communities or the local government, for example, the problem is about the transparency, or when we discuss with the local communities, they didn't know about what is the just energy transitions, what is the impact of the energy transitions. Because all of the discussion just only in the capital of the city, just only in the capital of the province, but it's not discussed with the local communities. It's not discussed with the, for example, worker, not only in the formal worker, but also in the informal worker, because we talk about the supply chains. And also we have to discuss about, because in Indonesia, for example, we have like the revenue sharing, or revenue sharing based on the coal companies will pay the non-tax revenue, is the royalty, and then from the royalty, they will give like the revenue sharing for the local governments. But after the coal, the local government will not get like the revenue sharing. So we have to change my mind to get another fiscal for the local government to get new revenue. Yes, I think this is like, we need a collaboration, not only the government, but the civil society and local community, but also from the big coal company to shifting their business. But just to be active in the regions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think this is the big question, what we will do to diversify the economy. Well, from the government perspective, there are two strategies. One of them is energy communities as one of the bases. And the second one is the miner districts. These mines districts are places where right now there are coal extraction or other minerals. And the idea is to articulate different ministers, the local communities, academy, and all of these organizations to try to identify, according with the local conditions, what are the possibilities to create new economies. This is the from the government perspective. About the sectors that looks like could be the new economies, let's say, one of them is agriculture. Actually, many of the coal mining regions before to be mining regions, they were agricultural regions. So the government also is thinking how to industrialize that agriculture. Other topic is tourism. Colombia, well, our president, actually, he always say this is one of the more beautiful countries in the world. And that's true in the meaning of the natural resources that we have. We have two oceans, Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, the Andean region that also cross. So we think that in tourism could also be an opportunity to reorientate the economy. And also we think that transportation is another possibility for electrification is one way. And the other way, for example, coal mining regions use coal mines use railroads to transport the coal to the ports. So we have this already. We have this infrastructure maybe to move other kind of goods, like from the agriculture, for example, food. So I think we are exploring different sectors to identify what we can do to replace the royalties and these revenues from the fossil fuel sector.